Okay, so how can we got this list, create a list of employees and what they're doing, create equipment list and evaluate the equipment condition, kind of a simple thing.
Mhm.
And we need to ask,
Well, let me ask you this. You guys have a budget you're putting together right now,
yeah,
okay? 1 year ahead, 2026. Let's just go 2 years ahead, 2027. Do you have to buy equipment in 2027?
There is a good chance, maybe.
Do you have to buy equipment in 2027?
we'll need a truck.
How about you?
And then how we haul it off.
You know exactly what equipment you guys are looking to buy? And that's what I'm talking
Sure.
about. And I'm not necessarily saying you should know that right now, but what I'm saying is if you go through these processes, you will have a standard saying, I want to know in the next 3 years what your part of the county should be telling you, hey, in the next 3 years, we're gonna have to do this. Or we need, there's needs and wants, and you put them in those, but you've got to have that in the back of your mind, or how can you budget? Because as we know, those costs are huge anymore.
Well, it's more having an equipment fund, and you can't touch that except for just the equipment. So,
Sure.
so
So,
this is something, I mean, I've talked about it before in the past, trying to get a 5 year lookout, but
Mhm.
it's just.
yeah, I can't
Problem is
imagine.
For us to do it, we're not here every day. Be there to, well, one time, wanted, county personnel person, to take on more responsibility, just the road and bridge, but, depending on what you named them, sometimes you have to elect that position because you're not here and you're not looking at the numbers daily and looking what they need and working with. them.
Sure.
You can't make those long range plans. If we meet once a week, then we're not
Right.
here, we may see.
That's all part of this process.
Yeah.
Sure. Again, 3 years from now, all three districts could need something that's $200,000 or more. That's $600,000 in a year. This county doesn't have that kind of money. But it doesn't mean you shy away from it and don't want to know it. These are the obstacles we're up against, and it's better to know it and say, yes, we know we need to replace this, but we can't right now. We're going to work towards repairing, replacing whatever we have to do. Those costs are going to get higher in the future. Equipment does not go down.
What'd you have?
We got to talk together, like, we got a new truck, we had to put a gooseneck ball on it, so there's the gooseneck trailer sitting there. Can we use it? Well, it was good, it was from Road and Bridge, it was supposed to go there. Well, we're not handling it, so we got the idea, didn't have to fight, they want to share it, so.
Well, if
So-
we do this right, stuff like that goes away.
It should be, yeah, so.
And even if it doesn't go away, you lessen the amount of time it happens. I mean, the worst thing that used to happen to us was constantly, until we started working towards processes to eliminate that. It was constantly divisions coming to us and go, we need this piece of equipment. What? Okay, we didn't know you needed that. And it's just, as you can see, this is not a $25,000 truck usually. It's a $200,000 truck or a $300,000 truck. And so we had to come up with ways. One of the things we attacked was as a company, we started buying the same trucks, right? We used to buy Dodge, Chevy, Ford. And on average, we were buying probably 60 new trucks a year. Well, when you go to Ford and you say, I will buy 60 trucks from you, or you go to Dodge instead of 20, 20, and 20, now all of a sudden you have a Ford number and you're purchasing it for less than their Z plan and you're saving the most money. You sometimes have to come together as a group and say for the betterment of this county. I know this guy likes this and this guy likes this, but we are going to do this. And that way we have, our equipment is the same, whether this guy jumps in it or that guy jumps in it. We know who we're dealing with for parts. We know where we're taking it to be repaired. That saves money. And quite often when you drive around and you start looking at counties and you start looking at cities, they have one car that's this kind, one car that's this kind, one truck, those kind of things are inefficient. And when you're looking to save money, you go to a more efficient manner. You start buying as a whole. You start saving money that. And that I guarantee my experience, you're gonna get people going, oh, we've never done it that way.
So this is just a question, maybe Nikki, it's for you, HR side. So I'm speaking with Richard, I've been on and talked to him a few times, trying to get some ideas. What I see here, I think, is public information, like a little bit of the budget. Numbers. But where would I get into gray areas, as far as discussions? What can we not talk about, or what's off limits as far? Is there anything off the top of your head? Yeah.
Probably obviously anything to do with HIPAA or any kind of health.
Well,
or
medical
anything like
stuff,
that,
yeah, but
obviously.
like salaries, things like that, money we spend, it's all over.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the most part, whether it's the city or the county, I can go online and I've been doing it with the city budget. You find out what people are making because it's public knowledge. So as long as it's readily available on the computer, then it's pretty much safe to talk about.
Okay. Well, I would really like to work with you in an advisory capacity, from here on. I know Richard talked about this road and bridge, wanting to go to a countywide system. I want to do that now. So I don't know about Bill, but unfortunately, the way this works is there's two of us that do and one that don't, and it does. It happens. So I'm ready, but I don't really know what the next step is. And that's a big step, and that's gonna rock the boat.
I would like to see him, you don't have and you got your phone right now, I would like to see you. Take the three forms and set them down and say, this is
Sure.
what we want to do, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, in a manner just like that. I'm not here to try to, again, we're not trying to get rid of people. We're trying to understand what they need.
Through this, and if I'm going about it the wrong way, see, if I'm red flagging in your mind, then that's why I kind of let you involved, because it's over my head. I know what I want to have happen, I'm just not sure how to get it.
Well, again, in order to get everybody rowing in the same direction, you have to get everybody on the same team. In order to get everybody on the same team, you have to make them understand, we're not trying to get rid of people.
But I
That's
think
not
if
what
we-
this is about.
We did the three forms, set them down and say, all right,
Yeah,
this is where we want to get to. All right, tell me the pros and cons for why you don't want to get.
right.
Because I think you're gonna find a lot right there with just when you talk to the forums, what the battle might or might not be.
Mhm.
And I think it starts there. Because that's where the territory kind of starts, when we got our foreman for our area,
Mhm.
okay. How can we bring this together? One person that everybody reports to, if it goes back to the commissions.
Sure.
And I think it would be good to start with sit down with the foreman and say, oh, guys.
Absolutely. Starts, that's why I keep saying, you gotta go to the people that are doing the work every day and listen to them.
Been a facet of the personalities.
Listen,
That's all.
listen.
They're probably.
my wife will tell you all the time, the hardest job about being a manager is managing personalities. It is. And it's managing personalities on this week versus next week, because this week somebody might be going through something that's really affecting their mental, capabilities that week. They have problems at home. They are not the same person they normally are. So you're constantly trying, but again, I'll bet you I know from a fact, just from dealing with the city budget and this budget and talking to people. Most people have no idea where the budget is and what it takes to run a county or city. They have no idea. Most people I talked to couldn't tell you how an appraisal on your property changes their taxes. They don't understand that the appraisal goes up, which means the assessed value goes up, which means the assessed value versus the mill levy is what they don't even understand that process. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to get everybody on the same page, your employees that are working for Road and Bridge right now need to understand where the budget is. They need to understand that none of this is coming about because we think people aren't doing something right. It's coming about because the county isn't growing leaps and bounds, but costs are. And so when you go to those foremen and say, how can I get you on board so Brown County can be more efficient? Now they feel like they're part of the solution instead of just, on the outside.
We're at a crossroad. We've been good about keeping our dollar pretty level across there. If you look at most departments, there hasn't been no huge increase. Everybody's good, but when COVID hit, we started using up more cash, now we got ourselves in a crunch. So
Sure.
trying to, how do we come out of this?
You don't have, for lack of better terms, a slush fund anymore. But do you think the employees know that?
Most of what, they should.
So.
They should.
Yeah, I'll bet you there's a lot of them that don't truly understand how you guys got here. Right? Again, you guys were voted in. And this didn't happen this year.
Let's go back many years.
It goes back many, many years.
This county's always taken pride in, their levies have always been low.
Right.
Well, totally created a whole thing on that. Now so many prices went up to here.
Yeah.
That.
And COVID created an atmosphere where if you were to order any kind of a replacement part or whatever, and the answer was, oh, there was a supply chain problem and we can't get that anymore, you would accept that now. You wouldn't have accepted that back in 2019. It would have been, well, I'm gonna find it someplace else. In America now, we accept that, try to buy a drone right now. Try to buy an agricultural drone, see what happens. They're not available. Or the parts for them are not available. That's not normal. But that's what we're up against. And this isn't going away. That's the problem. This is not getting better 5 years from now, at least from what we can see. It's just your job's gonna be harder next year with the budget and harder the year after that.
Any solution we have this year has long-term implications, of course. Just the forces of gravity in the economy means we're right back in this same boat next year.
Yeah.
And you're right, we're not necessarily looking to cut bodies. You're not trying to cut them, but we've got to be sensible with the limited dollars we have.
Yeah.
But we also got to represent to the public and the people that are paying the taxes that, with the service level that they've come to expect. It just takes more to maintain.
Sure.
Sure. But this, you've probably seen this, but Scott Lloyd put that together. And so we talk about numbers that change, that's that. Basically, some things under, we see how expenses been increased since 18, so. Things go up. I think Road and Bridge was like 2.4 million in 18, and they're around 4 million now, and 4.8, whatever the number was, but. That's the thing too, Richard, this budget we're working on.
Yeah, 2.8.
That we did the R&R hearing, we voted to go ahead and exceed the R&R rate. So that's kind of our de facto budget. Even at 9 mills over, we're still going backwards. We're still going backwards like $70,000.
Yeah.
So we've got to do something
Well,
quickly now.
If you raise it 9 mils and you're still $70,000 budget, you got to cut $70,000 something.
Well, at the minimum. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm hoping to do more.
Again, that's unpopular. It's unpopular. Nobody's gonna be happy. It's just how it is. I mean, there have to be 3 adults in the room. There have to be, and sometimes it's not fun to be an adult.
Connected.
We were union, so we were going up against these huge pay increases every year. And it's just not sustainable. We're seeing, our employees were getting 100% medical, dental, and vision with a $5 copay. That's not realistic. And when we went from $5 copay to a $15 copay, in other words, if your wife went to the doctor and had to pay $15 to see the doctor now, you would have thought we were putting people in prison. I mean, we had the convention center down there and had people yelling and screaming at us because they had to pay $10 more to go see the doctor. And it's like, this isn't realistic anymore, guys. Health costs keep going up. So nobody's ever happy when you say we have to do something to tighten the belt. But hopefully if the belt can be tightened a little bit, hopefully down the road, we don't have to keep raising taxes at the way we're raising them right now, because that's not sustainable.
That's not 25% increase. It's not sustainable.
Not sustainable.
No, and in reality, it should have been done slowly. I mean, some of these costs, it's not like the costs are way out of line. There's room for improvement. There always is.
Yeah.
But it just costs more in 2025 than it did in 2018. It just did. And it just didn't work out. But this is where we are. So Road and Bridge, what you bring, what we'd like to have from you, or what I'd like to have from you. I wanna utilize your, as some sort of consultant. I'm gonna give you some sort of authority to ask questions, to make recommendations, you know, even maybe to set up some appointments with people, you know, to
Yeah,
be able
I
to
mean,
talk to
I would-
people.
I used to write contracts with Herzog all the time. I was a subcontractor to them all the time.
Mhm.
A lot of the guys that I was dealing with back, you know, I retired in 2016 are probably not even there anymore. But there were many times I was sitting in my office in California talking to St. Joe, doing a contract. So it would, you know, I could pull up some old names and try to go access and say, hey, guys, we're looking for ways to be more efficient at this or whatever. And I'll bet you the access would be there.
I'd like to give you the ability to, you know, I really want to work with all of us in hand. I mean, I think your road and bridge foreman idea for a meeting, why don't we set that up? We should do it. I mean, that makes sense. That's a
Yeah.
good place to start.
Totally informal. I mean, just meaning, you know, it doesn't,
I would say it would be the first step and then come back and let us know what that overall meeting was like.
Would we not be there?
I know, it has to be just with them. They're
Yeah.
not gonna be open. for the-
I thought we'd get them up the works. Okay.
I believe.
yeah, they would just need, again, they're gonna need a call from you and say, hey, talk to this guy. There's no nefarious. There's nothing going on here that we're trying to do. Just be open and we're trying to brainstorm and come up with. And you know, they could be real informal and get some good information and they might even, you know, air their grievances a little bit more with somebody like me because I'm not a commissioner.
Sure.
You know, sure, I'm the guy that lives here, has some property here and has the same concerns that everybody else that lives here and has property here.
And just our commission district system, our road district system is by tradition. It's not by resolution. Correct? So it's, I mean, it's
Check back on that.
as far as we know, it's just operates by tradition. So we can,
It was a resolution. I might be totally wrong.
I don't know, that's the way I've operated. I know, Nick, you look back, we couldn't find anything. We've always done it this way because we've always done it this way. And maybe you find that's the best way to do it. I don't know.
Typically, it's not. Because it's, again, there's usually better ways to do something as time goes by. And it may not be the manpower part of it, maybe the equipment part of it.
What do you feel you need from us in order to take the next step? Do you need some sort of document? Do you need some sort of motion? Do you need some sort?
I don't think so at first. I think setting up a meeting and the willingness for those people to attend that meeting will tell you everything. Right? If all of a sudden you get pushback like, I don't have to go talk to him, then you're gonna need something that says, no, this guy's working on our behalf. You know, in a position where he has the right to look at means and methods, because that's what we're doing. We're looking at means and methods.
Okay. So our road and bridge secretary, Tammy Winfield, she would have all the numbers that she needed, information. And I mean, you think a meeting with you and the road foreman, that's the first step,
Mhm.
and we stay
And
away.
then you guys start gathering your information on equipment. That kind of thing, boys, and start just evaluating it. And again, these guys should have. They're out there every day. They should have some pretty good ideas.
Is there any? So the road, they're continually in motion. We are hauling right now, I believe, rock
Mhm,
for next year's chip seal.
mhm.
Is there any value in just like? Do we need to get the ship squared up before we continue that, or do we just?
I guess for me to answer that objectively would be, what is the availability of aggregate around here? In other words, is aggregate a problem every year where it's first come, first serve, and if you don't get it early, then there's a chance you don't get it later in the year?
That is correct.
Because as you know, these quarries are gonna crush a certain amount of aggregate based off of a demand. Right? So before you just say we're not gonna haul, that'd be one of the questions you want to talk.
You don't get it, you gotta go farther.
Well, they're hauling rock out in Nebraska, which from everything we've heard is a higher quality rock,
Right,
and it'll sit in the pile.
Right.
longer. But we don't want rock to sit in the pile too long, because then it'd be.
right. And am I,
That's where we're hauling out of, I mean,
But we're not.
no, and you guys are not, even that I know of.
that seems crazy to me.
There you
But
go.
my foreman, you know, we went and found out it's better rock and
Okay, so
We've already-
immediately you found there's better rock, so why isn't all of Brown County using better rock?
another 25 miles for them to go up there, but,
That 25 miles, 50 miles round trip, if it's better rock, might be totally worth it, because again, everybody knows quality of aggregate is huge. I mean, I see it just on my little farms where you get the brown stuff and it collapses, and you get the gray stuff and it
This
holds
is
up.
this is a half-inch stuff, half-inch
Yeah.
screen, and it's good particle size, and what we're running is 3/8.
Do you set up a purchase order for that rock? In other words, you agree to buy X amount of rock at a certain price?
We've already spoken for 2,000 tons from them. We're not gonna make that for us.
Okay, so did they agree to hold their price for 2,000 tons?
We know that they're in December, that there will be a slight price increase.
Even if you write a purchase order now and pay for it now? Because there's a way to save money right there,
Last,
Well, we'll see. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no, simple, and
That
that's
makes
actually,
sense.
that's a great,
Yeah.
because if the rock is that much better, it's 50 miles of freight, well, freight's not free, but it's not cost prohibitive either, if you're getting a better quality product.
Right.
You stretch that and say, go to a 4-year rotation because you've
Right.
got better rock.
Because you got better rock is a cost savings right there. But again, I mean, I can tell you one of the best ways to save money is there's power in size, right?
Yeah.
If you're buying 10 combines from John Deere, you're going to be getting a better deal than you or me walking in and buying one. So if we know we're going to be buying that rock and we know it's going to go up in December, it's coming out of the same budget, right? Meaning,
Yeah.
okay, so why not write a purchase order today and secure that rock price and not pay the increase in December?
That's a perfect example. Really.
And then you can go right back to it and say, we saved $5,000, right? By doing it this way. And every one of those little $5,000 adds up to something on the bottom line in 2025.
So much stuff, even on the equipment side, we've got trucks that are big enough to haul giant loads of aggregate, but then they're too big to use on the chip spread. And yeah, and there's just a lot of little things that I think we can make better in more of a like a team type environment.
No, I mean, again, it's common sense. It's not, it's
I like it. So do you feel like you have enough authority at this point right now to do things like that, or do we?
I think I do. Like I said, let's call a meeting.
Okay.
And let's do that first, and I'll host it in Robinson at, my building where it's not somebody's house and they can come up and they can leave freely. It's not like they have, but that'll say a lot. If you get people going, I don't want to go, then it's like, well, why don't you want to go? We're just trying
I
to
like it.
become more efficient, guys.
Did you have something, Bill? I'm sorry.
So how do you check your rock to make sure that one's better than the other? Is what company?
Typically, first of all, it's going to be graded and all that stuff, but this was a huge problem out west, huge problem. And it became such a bad problem that a lot of counties started realizing they had to have outside firms give them true readings and stuff like that, because you have,
right now, with the oil company we're working with, they pay for the rock to be tested because if it's not gonna meet their standards.
Right.
They won't let you use for a certain quarter.
sure.
So
So there's usually, if you were to go to a quarry or for instance, Hiawatha Ready Mix, there's going to be methods there that they have in-house that say this is of this quality, and they're going to sign off on that. Again, on large quantities, a lot of times you might start hauling and have it tested by a firm, and your last load, you might test by a firm, That's not that expensive. There are places that'll crush it and tell you what it is. But one of the ways to improve the road quality and the length that the roads are out there is improve the quality of the material that's going into it. Sometimes you're going to say, well, it's a little more expensive, but it's a lot more expensive, but maybe we go to a 4-year rotation because it's, and then what does that save you? $1.7 million in a year going into it. You might as
I
well.
think our biggest problem with our roads right now strictly become age. I mean, we chip and seals. Now we gotta do more.
Yeah.
Or
I would venture to say, and again, I've done a lot of projects where roads were a big part of the problem. But your base out there, what those roads are built on, you know, are going to tell you how long that road lasts. You've got areas that are more wet than other places, you know, in the county, all those kind of things, that base underneath is what. And you might have roads with the foreman might say, hey, that's our worst road out there because it's so wet all the time. No matter what we do, it just, you know, has a problem. You guys ever look at approach speeds in your roads?
We're looking at taking all 45.
What do you mean by approach speed?
Approach, how fast somebody can drive down that road loaded,
Why do they call it approach?
because you're approaching it at a certain speed.
Okay.
If you hit a driveway. If you hit a driveway and, so for instance. One thing back here is people pour driveways thicker. I don't know why, but they do. Out there, a driveway's 4 inches, which doesn't sound correct. It sounds kind of shallow for a driveway going into home, but. What the research showed is the approach speed into a driveway was less than 5 miles an hour. So the thickness of the concrete could be thinner. Okay, if they were hitting that same driveway at 30 miles an hour, so that it wouldn't last. If you're going down a road loaded at 40 miles an hour. There's, you know, physics in that that are putting more pressure on that road. But more pressure at a higher speed. That's why bridge approaches are so important. If you have a bad bridge approach where there's a lot of bouncing, there's much more pressure being put on that bridge. And out there, they run profilographs on all their bridge approaches because it has to be perfectly smooth because they don't want the truck bouncing, right?
Okay.
So all those kind of things affect the road.
I'm with you. So I just, the approach threw me on that. I didn't know what you meant
Yeah.
by that.
Yeah, it's called, you know, if you have a road that's 40 versus a road that's 65. And unfortunately, if you know that the road is posted at 40, most people are doing 50, right?
Yeah.
So you're still, even though you're saying we want the physics associated with 40, you're typically not getting them until you start enforcing it.
Okay. So you feel like we're in a good spot here for you to move ahead?
I do.
Yeah.
And again, hats off to you guys. I think it's wonderful that you're willing to look at your budgets and get ahead of this thing, because this isn't a 1-year fix or a 2-year fix.
I think, I mean, just direct Cam, you can send out the email or text message to them that you will be contacting them.
Yeah.
Instead of me,
Sure.
for the commissioner, just say they have to meet with you.
Right.
Well, do you want us to say have to, or, I mean, is.
I think we need to first.
Yeah.
Before you leave.
So you're gonna run into a thing then, are they being paid for this?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's done during work hours, is what we're agreeing to.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a big difference if you're paying them to go do it versus if it was after hours, they have much more right to say, I don't want to be there,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So,
So just for your information, that my phone's figuring out how many times I did it much.
okay,
I'm gonna buy it, but. Figure.
well, you might tell them that this is for information and trying to make the county better. So even if he's leaving, if he wants to show up, that'd be wonderful, because I'd love to.
I still want to be there.
Yeah.
But that would just clear. What that.
Yeah, that's fine. So let's,
Difference in-
sooner the better.
Okay, so that email, Tammy will make contact and say Richard will be in contact and you'll set it,
Mhm.
you'll take it from there. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll do it as soon as possible. I'm sorry?
She'll get you their.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay,
Wonderful.
good deal.
So, I appreciate you. I mean, really, dude, you're taking, I know you're busy, you got other things to do, but you bring a certain set of skills here that we don't possess. But
Well, I think there's lots of people in the county that have, I think there's lots of people that we could reach out to that have experience. You just talked about your experience. You've got a contractor in town, you've got several contractors in town. It's always wonderful to get them involved and say, hey,
sure,
what do you think? Because again, we're not building a nuclear bomb. It's not a secret. We're just trying to be efficient.
Yeah.
And I think this county and this town have so much potential. I really do. And that's from coming from seeing so many different types of counties and the way things are ran and traveling and seeing third world countries and stuff. You come back and you go, there's some really neat things. Just fix a few things.
okay, right on.
So,
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in, really. I
yeah, no
appreciate it.
problem.
All right, it's 12:10. Do we need to?
You need to find that. Yeah.
You need to address that. This email.
Yeah, need to address that, yeah.
Was that what the email? Okay, so how many was that? Okay,
Yeah. We go into executive session for 10 minutes for personnel and performance and I don't know what to call it. That's conduct, performance with the
Sure.
three commissioners. Sure.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded, and you, the three commissioners in the clerk.
Yes.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. We'll come back
Well,
12:21, looks like. All right, we're out of executive session. We're back in the regular session with no binding action taken. It's 12:21. We're gonna recess for lunch and we'll come back at, is 1 o'clock enough or do you need more time? It's 12:21. Okay, let's come back at 10 after 1:10. That should give us plenty of time. So I'll make a motion to recess for lunch until 1:10. Is there a second? Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, we'll recess.